Welcome to the Bike Life Podcast by Warmshowers Foundation, where we will be sharing knowledge, experience, tools, and stories of touring cyclists and hosts from around the world. I'm Tahverlee, the woman behind the scenes at Warmshowers Foundation, the leading platform for cyclists looking for hosts and to connect with a passionate international community. Find out more by visiting us at Warmshowers.org. Now, on to the show. Today we have Steve Diaz with us. He is a retired fireman, a professional grandpa, and lives in beautiful Mount Shasta, California. He's a host at Warmshowers, and he is also our 2022 bike giveaway winner. And we are here to hear all about you today, Steve. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. And I think I mentioned this earlier, that it's interesting that we give a bike away every year. It's part of how this organization operates, is through donations. And we give a bike away every year, and we don't often get to hear from from the people that win. Sometimes they take the bike, they're gone. Sometimes, and because the way that we do our giveaway, anyone can enter the draw, whether or not you've made a donation. If you mail in a postcard or if you make a donation, you are automatically entered to win. And Michelle and I, and I'm sure everyone knows Michelle, our admin ninja, we love the fact that we've been able to communicate with you and get to know you better as our winner from last year. So we appreciate you taking the time.
And again, I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad
Yes, you want a bike. That's quite a story. That goes in. Most of us say, "Oh, I never win anything in my life." Well, you can't say that. You get to now say, "I was a big bike winner one year. This amazing thing happened," and we'll talk about that more later. But what I would like to start with, Steve, is tell us a little bit about you. Where you were a fireman for almost 40 years. And then you retired, and I love it because you say that you became a professional grampy.
I did. So the biking story started several years ago. A friend of mine was going to school, and she said she didn't have a bike and she needed a bike. And I had an older mountain bike type bike, and I said, "Will this work?" She said, "Yeah, great." Well, it got stolen. Mm-hmm. And I looked at this as an opportunity to buy a new bike. And my wife said, "Oh, great. So I get to ride the old bike," because we bought these as a pair. Well, we'd been married long enough at that point that I understood that meant I needed to buy her a new bike also.
Two new bikes.
Two new bikes. And of course, then we bought new road bikes. And now I think it's 15 bicycles in the garage.
Wow.
So this has kind of evolved. Now, they're not all mine. We go back to the Grampy thing, and some of them are bicycles that are grandchild appropriate. And so we do a lot of riding. We're on the road. We have a little lake that we live next to. There's a 7-mile bike path around the lake. And if I take the grandkids halfway around the lake, there's ice cream. Mm. So biking has become kind of a thing for us.
I remember when I drew your name, Michelle and I, we do this amazing process when we draw a winner's name. We use an electronic system. Every single donation or postcard gets assigned a number, and then we use an automatic random number drawing to pull the number. And so you had an assigned number, and I don't recall what it was off the top of my head, but I remember looking at your profile and reading about you. And it took me a little bit to track you down. I don't know why. There was something in your profile. I couldn't find you, but I remember calling you. Did I leave you a message and say you won? And I think you called back and said, "Is this for real?"
Well, actually, it was kind of an odd thing. In the summertime, it's very nice here. My wife and I were in the backyard having coffee, and the phone rang, and I looked and I said, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I was going to filter it, figuring it was a spam call or something, some kind of a warranty for my truck or something. And when I heard your voice, because I'd listened to the podcasts and stuff, my wife looked at me. I guess I had a funny look on my face. I said, "It's Tahverlee." And she goes, "That means nothing to me." So, yeah, I was really excited when I got the call just hearing your voice. So,
Yeah, that was delightful. So, when did you get those two new bikes? Like, when was that was that after you retired or before you retired?
it was before I retired. I want to say it was back in 2013-ish. And that was when the bike was stolen. And I said, "Great, we're getting new bikes." And, we did. We went to Utah, we went to Moab, and we rode mountain bikes and decided we needed different bikes. And it was kind of an evolution, if you will, of a hobby.
Yeah. What a great hobby. All the good things come, right? The fresh air, the time together, the time in the open road, all the joys that those that are listening to this podcast know how joyful it is. Even if it's not long distance, even if they're short day trips, it's still the same joy.
And we do a lot of short day trips as well.
Yeah. And when did you start hosting? Like, when did you join and how did you find out about Warm Showers?
Well, you have my wife to thank for that. We were talking about doing some touring, and we said, well, we're not geared for touring, so we're going to have to get a lot of new stuff. And my wife, Cindy, said, there's an outfit or a group out there called Warmshowers. I've heard of them. And so I started kind of looking around and saw that you guys had a website. You can find anything on the internet, right?
Right.
And I started kind of poking around the Warmshowers site. And I said, well, this is a great thing. So I set up a profile. And that would have been, gosh, I want to say probably 4 years ago now. So it was kind of a thing where I went ahead and I set up the profile, and I didn't know anything about the American Cycling or Adventure Cycling Association or anything else. So there's been a learning curve to this.
Right.
And we got a guest. It was one of those things. I got an email and I said, wow, we have somebody coming. And as it turns out, it was Ken Francis. He was our very first.
Oh my goodness, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
You just met like the Warm Showers extraordinaire. He's like the top ambassador, supporter, participant in Warm Showers. He's like an OG.
Yeah, we didn't know this. We just had a guest.
Oh, that's great. That's great. How was your experience with Ken?
Well, like you say, he is a Warm Showers ambassador type, and it was a very positive experience in every way. And it was kind of odd because this happened, of course, right in the middle of COVID. Ken was our first guest, and everybody was very, very anxious about allowing people in their homes. And my gosh, is this person going to bring us disease and pestilence? On and on and on. So what we did, we have a travel trailer, and we set that up. We gave Ken the internet code, and we hardwired it for power and plumbing and such. So basically, Ken had his own self-contained place to stay. And then, of course, as far as meals and whatnot, because we didn't want to just warehouse the guy. So we ate outside. It was summer. It was beautiful. And we just set up in the backyard. And that's kind of what we did.
I'm sure he loved that.
I think so. I hope so.
Yes.
And we still keep in touch.
Wonderful. What is your wife's name?
Cindy.
Cindy, thank you for bringing you and Steve to Warm Showers. We're glad to have you. Let's give her a shout out and say thank you, Cindy. And Ken too. I'm glad that you got to experience, Ken Francis. I feel like I want everybody in Warm Showers to experience each other the way that you get to experience Ken Francis. So tell me a little more about where you're located, because I know that you are, there's lots of trails and ways to ride all over the world. There are obviously specific routes in the United States that are, of course, popular. But where you live in Mount Shasta, you're not on a very often ridden trail. Is that correct?
We're really not. It's great if you're in a vehicle. We're right on Interstate 5. But as far as bicycle friendly stuff, Interstate 5 is a high speed road. Lots of traffic, heavy traffic, trucks, cars, the whole thing. But there is an ACA route that goes on Highway 89 and comes through the Cascades a little bit. And it doesn't have much of a shoulder. It's not a really safe route. And in the summertime, when it's most likely that we're going to host people, it's awfully hot, or it can be awfully hot. Mm. And so there have been a couple of times when I've known that we've had people coming where I've said, look, if it gets miserably hot or you don't feel safe on the road, let me know. I will come get you. I have a pickup. I can fit your bikes in it. I can fit you in it, the whole thing. Once you get to Mount Shasta, it's beautiful. We have lots of very nice places to ride, both mountain bike, road bike, and of course we host the Grinduro, which is an international gravel bike event here.
Mm. Tell us about Mount Shasta. I'm not familiar with that area of California. Is it in an elevated location? So meaning it's a trek up to get there or a trek down? Is it in a valley? I mean, it says Mount Shasta, so I'm assuming there's mountains.
It is. We live at about 3,300 feet.
Okay.
But we do have Mount Shasta in the backyard, which is a mountain. It's 14,179 feet. Mm. So it's a pretty significant rock in the landscape. Mm-hmm. Our habitat, if you will, we're kind of an alpine forest type habitat. So we're usually cooler than the surrounding areas. It is forested. It is beautiful. Mount Shasta just kind of comes up off the landscape. It's the southernmost Cascade volcano. Mm. And a lot of people believe it has some sort of magical properties. They may be right. I don't know. I just know that I like living here. Yeah. And like I say, we are on a lake where we live. So we have access to fishing, kayaking, trail biking, running, whatever you'd like to do.
Hence why the grandkids like doing activities with Grandpa.
Oh, yeah. And we try and make sure that we wreck them every day. Kids have a lot of energy. So we have to try and have a lot of energy.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, don't be surprised after this podcast. I mean, your location in Mount Shasta might become a destination where some people might plan their route around coming to see you, Steve. So even though you don't necessarily get a lot of hosting requests now, you may. You might become a part of other people's planning.
And I'm okay with that too. As it turns out, you touched on the fact that I was a fireman for many years, and I've been called out of retirement a couple of times, which makes it kind of tough. I've had to actually turn down 2 requests because the situation was such that I actually went back to work. Mm. I'm going to try and divorce myself from that completely now. And if I get more guests, I'm okay with that. In fact, I think that'd be wonderful.
Got it. So for everybody listening, make your way to Mount Shasta. Put it on your travel plans if you're going to be on the West Coast, and go see Steve and Cindy. That would be super fun. And then, of course, Steve, you should contact us and we should interview all of you together, because I like doing group interviews too. It would be fun.
Oh, that'd be great.
So let's talk about the bike that you won. Tell us what you chose. What kind of bike? What did you choose? Because the giveaway, if people don't know, You get to choose. You have a budget and you get to choose. We purchase the bike and basically ship it to you. You let us know what store is closest and what you want, and we take care of the rest. So tell us what you chose.
Okay, so when I turned 60, my wife said I could have a new bike. Mm-hmm. And I wanted a new titanium bike. I'd read so much about titanium. I'd ridden a couple of them. I absolutely had to have one. And I happened to be on Warmshowers, and I saw that you guys were giving away a bike with the paid subscription. And I already paid my membership dues, so I was kind of miffed. Hmm. And then I kept reading, and it said, oh, you can send in a postcard. I do a lot of writing. I still have fountain pens on my desk, and I bought probably 500 postcards at an antique store. And I said, well, I'm going to send in a postcard. And I did. Mm-hmm. And had forgotten about it, thought, oh, I'm never going to win the bike, just like most of the rest of the people in the world, right? Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and I ordered my new titanium bike.
Oh, right. I forgot about this part. Yeah, keep going. Keep going.
And that's when Tahverlee called. And I said, I what? And my wife said, you don't get two bikes. I said, yes, I do.
So that's great. That's great. I still have your postcard, by the way.
The one with the balloons on it.
Yep. I keep all our winners. Yes. Keep going.
So Michelle called and said, hey, let's make this happen. So I contacted the company from whom I had ordered the bike, and they said, yeah, no, we're not going to work with Warmshowers, and we're not going to do this. And I said, thank you for your interest. Please play again. And we went to another manufacturer because it's so hard to find titanium bikes. I have two manufacturers within 100 miles of me who build titanium bikes, custom bike builders. But with COVID and supply chain issues and whatnot, I was probably 2.5 years out to get the components to build the bike. Mm. So Michelle and I went to a manufacturer in Great Britain, Dolan Cycles. And Dolan has a history. You know, they built bicycles for Tour de France and other British teams and whatnot, and they make titanium bikes. And they said, we'd be happy to build you a bike. We'd be happy to work with Warmshowers. And so now I'm riding a Dolan Titanium, and I love it.
I love it. This is so amazing. I remember that now. I remember having the conversation that you had just bought a bike when we called you. And here's the thing. I mean, I understand your frustration when you why you sent a postcard in. And if it's helpful, Steve, I'll explain to you a little bit about the history of how and why this comes to play. So when we rolled out the new user fee, which you know that all new users from a certain date moving forward are charged a one-time user fee of $30. So that's it for a lifetime. We grandfathered in about 165,000 people, right? So if you had already been a user of Warmshowers up until that point, you never paid a membership, and it's technically not a membership fee. It's a user fee. It's like a processing fee. And so I understand what you're saying. And yet there's a lot of people in this organization who, were users before that time. So anything after that time paid a user fee. And we still, right, that just goes to support our technology. And we still exist as a nonprofit organization based upon donations. And because of the way we do the bike giveaway, we are glad to accept postcards with your username in lieu of if you can't make a donation. It's not a requirement.
Well, in real life, the donation, the membership fee, whatever we call it, it really is a bargain. It is a tremendous value for what you get. We have access to a worldwide network of very friendly people that we like, people that are generally like-minded. Yeah. So that wasn't the issue. I was just frustrated that I missed the timeline I thought.
You're like, I do get asked it often because a lot of people make yearly contributions, like they set up an annual contribution, and sometimes those annual contributions don't fall right in the time frame of the bike giveaway. So we do our best. We appreciate the support. We're two staff and a whole lot of volunteers and a board of directors that bring all this together, and we love it. We love hearing the stories of bike winners like yourself and hosts and cyclists. We all love it. We're filled up by the joy that everyone experiences in this community.
Well, and the bike that I won, the bike that I ordered, is set up. They included a couple of touring frame bags. And, I'm going to go ahead and put a rack on it, and we're going to start using it. This year, my wife and I are going to take a little tour. It's a supported tour, and we will be riding from Jasper, Alberta, Canada to Banff. We'll be going with a guide, and it's going to take us 4 days. And this new titanium bike will be making its maiden voyage on this one in Canada.
Beautiful area you're traveling through. What a wonderful spot.
It will be on the Icefield Parkway, and it's absolutely stunning.
How exciting. Make sure you send us some pictures. We will put them in our newsletter of the new titanium bike in action.
Oh, I absolutely will.
That sounds great. Well, listen, Steve, thank you. Thank you for being a part of Warm Showers. Thanks, Cindy. And we're glad to have you. And congratulations on being able to win and create like the bike of your dreams from sending in a postcard.
And I will send you postcards from wherever I go.
Oh my gosh, we would love that. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you.
You and Michelle have been absolutely wonderful through this process.
Thank you. It's nice to hear that. We appreciate it. All right. For those of you listening, our bike giveaway is coming soon. You've been able to hear from Steve, this wonderful human who is hosting in Mount Shasta, California, and getting ready to do his own tour in Canada. And you can enter the drawing. All of the information will be in the show notes, and we will be back soon. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the show as much as we enjoyed making it. Wherever you are listening, please leave us a rating and a review, as it helps us reach more cyclists and hosts around the world. Visit us at Warmshowers.org to become a part of our community, or on Instagram at Warmshowers_org. If you would like to be a guest on the show or submit a question, please make sure to email us at podcast@warmshowers.org.